Hello and welcome along to Mondo Chalavet Movies. My name is John and this is going to be my entire collection, part 4. I'm still in Arrow at the moment and I think I'll be finished on the next one. I'll be finished Arrow and I'm going to introduce Grindhouse releasing, and then after that I'm excited to get into my 88 films, which I'm getting a really good collection of at the minute, and I really do rate their stuff, but that's for a future video. So I'm just going to do this as I've been doing the other ones. If you want to watch the other ones, I will link them down below. And I just want to go through these ones and hopefully I'll get these done in 20 minutes and a nice bite-sized chunk which won't go out of sync, which will be a nightmare to edit. Okay, so first off is Runaway Train. This was a movie that I saw on holiday in Spain. It was dubbed. I didn't understand what was happening. Actually didn't have the sound in. The bar was in, didn't have the sound on, but I did watched it and think this looks really action-packed, and I do know what happened in it, kind of. But I do want to go back and watch this film. I think this is one of the first Arrows I ever bought actually, but I still haven't watched it yet, believe it or not. But it is on my to watch list, my gigantic to watch list. But I have heard people say a lot of good things about this movie. So the next one I got in the part of a sale, and it is a film called We Are the Flesh. Now, I don't mind films that are a little bit crazy, a little bit out there, a little bit that don't make the sense at all, but this film, I don't know if it did anything for me. This film, I don't know if I watched it at the wrong time, but I just thought it was just rubbish. But I'm going to give it one. I always give films, maybe, you know, if they're a bit confusing, I'll give them another chance. I don't know if I like this film at all on second rewatch. I'm not rushing back to rewatch it. So the blurb on the back said, "A visionary and bizarre slice of Mexican cinema, We Are the Flesh is an extraordinary and unsettling film experience." Well, yeah, but I don't know if it's that good. I don't mind a film being out there if it's good. This film isn't that good, I don't think, but I'm going to have to rewatch it again. I don't even think I watched it all the way through, and it is very, very explicit as well. The next film I've never seen, but I do really want to see. Now, this is a film that could be in the sort of similar ilk to this one, but I think this one's meant to be a really good film, and it is Climax. I've just bought it, actually. And the sort of story behind it is that these people go to a sort of event and they have a drink that's spiked with LSD, and it's sort of what happens after that. I'm really, really interested in watching this. This is very high up my to watch list, but I've just recently got this in the sale in Arrow, and I thought I've heard lots of people talking good about it, so I thought, yep, I've got to get this one. We're just waiting for it to come out and do it in the sale. This next one is another one that I got in the sale, and it is Why Don't You Just Die? What a brilliant title that is. That's a film that would get you involved in it even if you didn't know anything about it, just the title itself. I have great things about this. I think this is a Russian film. I think it's quite brutal in its, what it shows and the way it goes. I've seen a trailer for it, and the trailer looks absolutely brilliant, so that's another one. It's that and Climax is they're very high up on my to watch lists in the form of what Arrow are delivering at the minute. The next one is a film I got, and the stars in this is starring Tom Meaton and also Alice Lowe, two people that I do really like when I see them in their productions. And it is The Ghoul. I don't know too much about it, but I do know that when Alice Lowe is anything especially, I think she's brilliant. I like everything she's been in. I think she's extremely talented, and I'm really interested to watch this. There's another one I picked up in the sale because of these ones that I like look at and think, right, they're good. And I know it's never been a special edition, so there's no point in you just wait for sales for these ones. I don't ever think that I buy these unless it's like a really excellent title I'm after. These standard versions always go into a sale, so I always try and get them in sale. So, and if this is rubbish, which I don't imagine it would be, it's produced by Ben Wheatley as well, which is another tick in the box for me. If it is bad, you haven't lost that much money as well. You can always sell these at a good price. Next up is the one that I got from CX very recently, is a Mega Time Squad. I've heard good things about this when I bought it and I've looked into it. Haven't watched it yet. It's a new film. I thought it was an 80s film, but it's a new film. And the guy in the shop when he sold it to me said, "Oh, you're in for a good ride with this film." He said it's nuts. And I thought, right, that's another box ticked for me again. So I'm interested to watch this one as well, Mega Time Squad. The next one was the one that I bought, and I was really interested in this film because I saw the trailer for it and it looked brilliant, and I thought this is going to live up to it, and it did actually. And the film it's a funny film actually, and it is Cat Fight. Now this movie here is basically these two girls are at loggerhead. There's a good backstory behind it. There's a good reason. It's not just to just fight each other for a laugh. There's a good reason behind why these two just hate each other. but the majority of the film is just them trying to fill each other in. They're just kicking and punching and pushing them all over the place and beating them over the heads with things for most of the film. Now that sounds a bit sort of, you think, well, doesn't the joke wear off after a bit? But no, it's so watchable. And Sandra Oh, who's in there, who was in the amazing Killing Eve, she's great in everything I watch, and she's great in this one as well. Highly recommend it. It is brutal, but it's really well done, the brutality. The next movie is, I've got a lot of Japanese films coming up now, and this film is Massacre Gun. Haven't watched this movie yet, although I really like these sort of, I'm going to say 60s sort of crime Japanese films. I do think that they're done really well. They're a little bit sort of like James Bond-esque, if you think of the 60s James Bond in a fashion. But I haven't seen this one, but I've seen films in this sort of ilk, and I knew when this came out, especially in a sale, I would be definitely getting it. The next one is a similar film. It's Branded to Kill. I think this is exactly the sort of same genre when it's like Hitman in this one, and I'm going to say it's very 60s, but I quite like that sort of Japanese 60s era. I think they do some brilliant films, and I think they've got some very good sort of set designs. I do like the look of a 60s Japanese film as well, but I haven't watched this film yet. The next film I have seen, and it is a Japanese film, and it's from 1969, and I've got to admit this is one of the most brutal films I have ever seen in my life. It is Yakuza Law. Now, I think this film starts off in modern day, and it tells you a little bit like, no, it starts off in the olden times, and it tells you a little bit like how the Yakuza started off, the sort of gang, if you want to call it that, and it takes you through to modern days with the sort of modern 60s Yakuza. And there's sort of, you could imagine there's a lot of retribution in this film. If you cross the gang, then the gang gets a hold of you and it's sort of exact their vengeance on you. Fair enough, that's what happens in these movies when you sort of step out of line with a sort of mafia type of gang. But the real way that people get sort of killed and sort of tortured and everything, I've never seen anything like it. And for 1969, I couldn't believe the lengths and the things that were shown. So I urge anybody who hasn't seen this film, go and get Yakuza Law. You will not believe what you are seeing in the way of violence. It is, like I say, it's literally one of the most violent films I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not saying that to get anybody's interest up. That's the way it is. Highly recommended. And I was stunned by this movie, I've got to admit. The next one is Horrors of Malformed Men. I haven't watched this one yet, but it's directed by the same bloke who done Yakuza Law. So if it's anything half as good as that one, it's going to be stunning. I picked this one up in a sale as well. I wouldn't have picked it up ordinarily, but as soon as I found out it was the same bloke, I thought, yep, I'm going to get it. If it's half as good as that one, it'll be a winner. Next up is Blind Woman's Curse. This stars Maiko Kaji, I hope I'm getting that right, and she starred in Lady Snowblood, which is a brilliant film. I've watched this film, it's really good. It's not as good as Lady Snowblood, but if you ever want to know where Kill Bill was formed in Quentin Tarantino's mind, it's probably after a good watch of Lady Snowblood. And you'll know, if you see Lady Snowblood and you know it, you know exactly what I mean. Not taking anything away from Kill Bill, I do really like that. Blind Woman's Curse, though, it's a great film if you like the samurai films. Absolutely brilliant. And I do like the fact that the main protagonist of these movies is female. Next up is the Sister Street Fighter collection. This has 4 movies in it, and I flicked it on, just had a look at it, haven't watched it yet, and it looks absolutely stunning on the picture quality. So it's another one on the massive to watch list. When I'm pulling these out now, I'm thinking to myself, a lot of these I've really got to watch sooner rather than later. Next up is another J-horror film, Dark Water. It's one I've been after for quite a while. I've been waiting for it to come in the sale, and I got it the sale recently, and really interested to watch this one as well. Next up is a stunning J-horror film. It is Audition. This is directed by Takeshi Miike, and as anyone's ever seen it, I'm not going to go anything into it, but you know when you see this film how it goes, and you've never seen anything quite like it. I think when I first watched it, I didn't know what it was, and I thought, well, what is this film? And then when it started to sort of change in tone, I thought, wow. And when Arrow brought this out, it's a no-brainer to get it. I haven't watched the Arrow version yet. I do want to watch it, but it's a really good version as well. And what a film. And if you, well, I'm not going to tell you anything about it, but it's wow. Is it a good film? brilliant. Next up is The Happiness of the Katakuris. What a title. I do think this is meant to be like a bit like The Sound of Music. It is a musical, but it's got like blood and guts and violence in it. So for that reason, it's watchable on its own, that premise. Also, it's directed by Takeshi Miike as well, so it's got to be watched. And picked this up cheap from CEX as well. So a lot of these titles actually haven't brought the bank. So I do urge anybody who thinks about getting these ones on release, if they're just released in a standard Amaray case, you know, and they haven't got a slipcover, just wait for a sale, because you can pick these up cheap maybe a couple of months down the line, and you can get a big Arrow collection without breaking the bank, which is what I like about Arrow. Obviously, you've got the special editions, which they need to be bought straight away if you want to get them at a sensible price. You might think that maybe if you pay £30 or £40, it's not sensible, but it's a lot better than when you get them on the aftermarket sale anyway. Okay, so the last one in this episode is Pulse. Now this movie here is meant to be a brilliant J-horror film. I haven't seen it. I did get it cheap in the sale. A lot of these films, when I look at them and see them full price and say, right, that's definitely one for the sale. If it's in an Amaray case without a slipcover, you will get them in the sale, that's for sure. And you can save yourself some money down the line. And why break the bank if you don't have to? You can spend that money on other things. Okay, so that's the last one in this episode. And next one will be hopefully the finish off with the Arrow section, and also the Grindhouse releasing. And so thanks again for watching. You take care, and I will see you on the next video.